Hi, everybody. Welcome to our next In Register podcast video. And this one's very special and dear to me. I'm sitting here with my father, Bill Fechner, third generation owner of Advertisers Printing Company. Today, we're going to talk about his legacy, his influence on the business, celebrate his time here, and what we're going to do going into the future. So welcome to the In Register podcast, Dad.
Yeah, good to be here, Al.
Wonderful.
Good to be here.
When you think back to your first memories of Advertisers, tell us about those.
Well, the first memories, I kind of just learned what it meant to be in a family business and basically the hours it would take. So I lasted, I think, about maybe 2-3 months at 8 hours a day. And my dad would take me out to lunch every day on the hill, specifically at Ruggieri's restaurant.
Oh.
Those would go for, I think, about 3 to 5 Manhattans for my dad, not for me. And
Bring those days back.
3.5 hour lunches, good lunches, and 8 hours and go home. That turned to 10 hours and no more lunches. Dad, go ahead, have fun. I'm going to work. And then at 6 months roughly, then it was 12 being the minimum to typically up to 16. You couldn't work remotely at that time. That meant Saturdays were like a guarantee. If I worked on Sundays, out of fairness to Mama, typically I tried to keep it 4 to 6 hours. The other thing I learned, if I didn't work Sundays at all, I felt like a dead man for the next week because you started out way behind. And you spent the rest of the week trying to catch up.
I remember watching your work ethic and seeing that, and that was a great example for me, Robbie and Jesse, to look up to and see if you put the hours in, good things are going to happen. So thank you for teaching us what a good ethic looks like. As a third generation owner, what did it mean to you personally to carry on your family's business?
You know, it meant a lot, but I have to be honest with you. It was just one basic major thing, and that was working with my dad. That's what really meant the most to me. I was kind of the kid, and there was 5 of us, so I was kind of the kid that always kind of hung out with my father. For instance, he did a lot of woodworking, and so I was the kid who was at the back end of the saw catching and helping to guide the boards and stuff, and hand them tools and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I worked with my dad, from as far back as I can remember. I looked at becoming a pilot. A couple of things there. They made a lot of money, and I thought it would be fairly easy. My dad was a pilot, a little private pilot's license. I soloed, and I was to the point where you can do cross countries and stuff, and that's when I ran out of money. But at least I flew a plane, so I had that in me too. I really want to have kids. I really, really, really wanted to have kids. Very sorry I did now, but that's...
I know what you mean.
Just lying. Second most wonderful thing of this world that's happened to me, your mama being the first thing, of course.
Yes, sir.
But I really wanted to have kids, and that means a wife. And the way the pilot thing works is you start out, you're low person on the totem pole, so you fly every holiday. You fly all the weekends. You fly the really crappy trips. So that ixnayed that in my mind. But if I'm working with my dad and I've got the control, that was some good advantages. And it turns out I love what I do, and I love to work. I am wired to work, that's for sure.
Yes,
whatever
sir.
I do. But printing's been very nice.
Yeah, between the long hours and finishing the basement and all the handiwork you put into the house we grew up in, and all the other woodworking, and man of many talents, jack of all trades.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah. What values guided you as a leader and kept Advertisers Printing thriving through your time there? Or here? You're 46 years here, probably longer working here as a child.
47.
Too.
You're ripping me
Yeah,
off by
47 years.
Probably the single biggest thing is people. When I hired people, I saw families. I didn't just see an individual. Of course, you're interviewing an individual. The emphasis is on the individual, but almost always there's a family behind that person. Another principle was you get these top performers, they're part of the team, and nothing we do from the top, from my position, I couldn't do it by myself. Everything I did stemmed from sales and manufacturing. And maybe I organized things and did a lot of miscellaneous things, but I didn't, well, I take that back. For the first, 7, 8 years, I did work on a light table.
And the books.
Yeah. These aren't good memories.
I know.
I don't know if I had to go there or not.
Printing 4x4 jobs on a one-color press, 8 passes.
Yeah, it was crazy. And stripping all that film by hand was insanity, especially the way it's done now. But anyway, it was the people thing, and you take care of people. You try and see them all the way. They're not just a way to make profit. They're part of the team, and they're feeding a family. One of the first things that I just loved about having a career down here and the economic benefits of it, et cetera, was number one, taking care of my dad, because he was in that generation that really didn't have a bona fide retirement plan. He had, certainly Social Security was rolling, but other than that, he really didn't have much. So that was the first thing. And the second thing was all the different families that were financially supported by working here. That made me feel good, no matter how bad the days were. And the small business and the family business, if anybody tells you it's easy, it's not. It's insanity. As you quite well know, when you talk to me about coming in down here, I didn't talk them out of it, but I didn't gloss code it either. I let you know, when I started, I thought I could see 100 years in the printing industry.
One of the things that all the vendors I ever talked to when I was starting out, and any other peers we had in the industry outside of Advertisers, had always said, well, your father's really a visionary when it comes to where he's taken the company and embracing new technologies. What you needed to do and the decisions you needed to make that not all the other printers are willing to make at that time, you took a risk and brought on, and obviously it worked out for the greater. Can you tell us about a time that you had to make a really, really tough decision on whether or not you knew it was going to work out or not? One of those decisions that kept you up at night for a long, long time. And I know you got dozens of them, but we're still here. We're still operating. We're doing, higher revenue consistently than we've ever done in our history. But can you please tell us about one of those really, really tough decisions you had to make that ended up shaping the future of Advertisers?
Well, when you work in an industry where the average profit margin is less than 3%, every time you spend money, whether it's employees or equipment, it keeps you awake at night.
Yes, sir.
So that was always a situation. In the early days, what I would do in the manufacturing side, if I could, is I would do the job and just work longer hours instead of hiring somebody, simply because I never, ever wanted to hire somebody unless I knew for a fact I was giving them a full-time job. You can't take somebody away from something they're already doing and tell them you got a job for them, and then they sit around with only 4 or 5 hours of work to do. So I try and bridge the gap. But those two areas were tough. The other thing was when we went into the Macintosh and pre-press.
Yes, sir.
That was sticking your neck out pretty good. Now, that was a leap in technology, so that was a wonderful thing to get into it. But let me say, and this is true, a lot of the great decisions I made were either made up there and just passed down, or something that just kind of had to happen. In the case of us going electronic in the pre-press area, that really was spearheaded by one of the employees in the pre-press area. And I think as much as anything, they were concerned about their future. So they were, you know which direction this is going?
Yeah, don't
hey,
forget.
boss,
Yeah,
which direction this is going? Are you thinking about it?
Yeah.
Are you think, So that happened. Another time that happened was John Heaney in sustainability.
Yes, sir.
Now, it may have taken 10, 12, 15 years, but, John, He didn't do this. He was like this. Are we getting into sustainability? I mean, that was just a simple fact. I mean, he came in here with a hammer and he's saying, we're going this direction. Now, God bless him. We did. But I mean, a lot of that stuff was foisted upon an idiot who didn't see it coming, but was at least smart enough to grab onto the damn train before it was gone. Honestly.
I know the best leaders always pick people that are smarter than them in certain areas, and that always helps move things forward. Not taking us in any different direction here, but one of the things that you were always good at was listening and setting your ego aside and really taking a look at things holistically and making a decision from there.
I put the company behind the sustainability effort monetarily, which is easy. I just had to say, yeah, we're going to do this, sign the check, blah, 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 join this organization, whatever, have different people come in. So I supported it, full support.
Well, backing your team members is one of the best things a leader can ever do. And again, giving you credit for listening and considering all the ideas of the team and pushing things forward. Becoming SGP certified and being one of the few printing companies in the United States with that certification, I know was a tall order. Keeping the sustainability certification is a tall order. And I know that I'm extremely proud, just like you are and the rest of the team is. We're not talking the talk. We're really walking the walk.
Absolutely.
A lot of these larger organizations and a lot of the opportunities we have had, one of the core values of these opportunities we're getting is sustainability. Oh, we came to you because we're how sustainable you are. It's a wonderful mission and we want to get behind it, and all of our products must be sustainably produced. And then when it comes down to planning the project, picking the right materials and producing it in the most sustainable way possible, if they can find a cheaper way to get it done, they go that route. So whether this is used in marketing or not, those companies that claim to be sustainable, that you claim to have a core value of sustainability and helping the earth and everything, maybe start going with a printer that is sustainably certified or an SGP certified printer. If it's not us, we can get to let you know which other printers are sustainably certified closer to you. You know, many companies talk the talk, we walk the walk. If you want to walk the walk, send your work here. That's it. That's my little cut. Do it. Send it us. Well, but one of the things we've stuck to here is our values. And I think if our values align with other companies' values, those are some of the best customers and the best relationships, and that what you grow with the most. Find the companies that are passionate about the same things that you are. And if you're sick of a printer or a vendor making promises and not delivering or saying things that they're going to do and don't end up doing them, we'd love to make your lives more fulfilling, easier, and create more time for you to spend with your family, friends, and doing the things that you love to do. Back to the podcast. Were there any other situations to where something you could see in the industry that your peers couldn't see and you ended up moving forward?
There were two involving printing equipment, really. But the first one was when I started in the industry, very strong industry at the time, and the town was full of 40-inch 6-color presses. Well, actually, when I started, I don't think the 40-inch presses existed yet, so 25 by 38, 4 and 6 colors, lots of them in town, lot of those cylinders. So I pushed us in the quarter size direction, 4-color 14 by 20 sheet size, which was kind of nutty, but it's something we could afford. And that work, the big boys weren't interested in. It was there wasn't enough money in it. For us, it fit though, and so it got us a toehold. Now, you fast forward, what's it been, Al? 5 years now. We put in this 10-color monster, 5/5. That would be the second one. You kind of pushed me into looking at the monster that we're talking about, the 10-color, the perfectors in general of the larger size, no quarter size. This is a fuller size press. Not completely full size, but good enough. And we made that decision to buy that 10-color and get rid of 3 aging presses. Didn't keep us up with technology. It put us actually ahead, because that move, financially speaking, up until 18 months ago, I was still signing the personal guarantees, which is normal for a smaller business. Now that one was a multi-million-dollar personal guarantee that I'm coming up on retirement. I mean, that was what, 5 years ago, I'd have been 64.
I believe the PO was signed on February 17th, 2020. We all know what happened 3 weeks later, which made that investment so much more fun to move forward with when the world actually shut down.
Yeah. So that was another, sea change event, if you will, because in all sincerity, without making that move, the only other thing we could have done was just completely divest of the offset side and go digital. Whether or not we could have survived a move like that, I'm not sure. This has allowed us to transition. And we've moved a lot farther in our digital department, and we've added other digital print capabilities, such as the wide format, which has been a very good thing.
Getting into the quarter and half size equipment was, I feel like, such a brilliant move. And you probably couldn't have seen it, I guess what would be 30, 35 plus years later. Printing industry is still a very strong industry, but with postage increases and everything that's happening, these run lengths continue to get smaller and smaller. And you have to be more nimble, and you have to be extremely competitive on top of the razor thin margins and all of that other stuff. So it actually was your vision that got us to be more nimble in pushing out these small boutique, high quality jobs for some of these big customers here in St. Louis. And that belief and motto and work ethic never left us when we got into the 10 colors. So not only are we still nimble, but we're nimble with much larger jobs. And the 10 color press allowed us to do that. So that was a great call and a wonderful investment. Was there a project or client that really captured why you were so passionate about the business?
As far as the product goes, I'd say annual reports. That was kind of the top of the pyramid, if you will. You had to be a quality shop, which, is all we ever preached. Well, number one, cheater answer here. All of our clients are just wonderful beyond belief, and they are. The mantra I've always preached is the only reason any of us are here is our clients. Well, annual reports kind of show you that you pretty much reached the top, because that's something that's a tremendous emphasis from the client side. Has to be perfect. Can't make any mistakes. Got to do it quick. Can't miss deadlines. Now, thank God, we always have been a high quality shop and always have had wonderful manufacturing personnel. The whole team's always been very, very sharp, but we're human. We make mistakes.
Sure.
Our rule here was we always tried to fix a mistake before the client ever knew it ever happened. And we've reprinted, I'm not going to say a whole lot of jobs, because it's just a great team. We just don't screw up a whole lot. But when we did, we reprinted them, we delivered them. Folks come to us for our print manufacturing abilities because they trust we know what we're doing. And we have to honor that trust.
If we can do something better by following our core value of openly communicate, bringing everyone's education up, and if we can teach them how they can do certain things with their files or communicate with us, deliver a better product, things will get to them faster. Everyone's happy.
You never want to try and hide anything either.
Yeah.
And this used to happen a lot when your uncle was still working, is he'd look at some pictures and say, I don't like that color, or it's not clear enough, or the contrast isn't right. Back into pre-press, 4 new plates, back out to press. Say anything to the client? No. They came to us because they trust us to do a great job, and we had to honor it.
Both you guys, Uncle Bob and yourself, were fanatic about quality and ethics that carried on through the entire team. And I know a lot of us still believe that today. Going back to something we had said earlier is how much the industry has drastically changed. And with those changes over the last 3 decades, how did you keep your passion for the industry alive?
Once you get married, and then once you start having kids, I might have been almost 30 years old when I realized, by God, I'm going to worry about these kids forever. Up to that point, I'm thinking, this is going to be great. They're 21 years old. They're college educated. I don't have to think about them anymore. Wrong-o. Any parent knows this. You're a parent for life. That kept me engaged.
I probably threw a monkey wrench in that plan for sure by coming into the company that you had worked so hard on building. Well, we've got to make sure that this is successful and that we're set up and equipped to keep the company going and, hopefully pass it on to the fifth generation if they're interested.
Absolutely. And really, you didn't throw a monkey wrench in it. I mean, it's a well-known fact in a multi-generational business. The third generation, if they've even got 1 ounce of intelligence, sells the place, takes the money, and runs. I was the third generation. What an idiot.
I disagree. Thank God you didn't, because I don't know what I'd be doing now if it wasn't for that.
You get the big hit if you sell, but over time, you'll make a lot more money in an ongoing business. So it's really kind of stupid and self-serving to sell. So don't do it.
Yeah, that's not in my plans. How many employees were here when you came in? 3? 8? I know it was less than 10.
I've always said 8, and I think it was 8.
And over that time, grew to 60 employees, just under $13 million in revenue. It's been fantastic coming in here and trying to improve on everything you've built and everything Uncle Bob helped build. Yeah, we'll see how the fourth generation goes.
Yeah,
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah, Alex, and I've told you this. I've never felt better about the company. And I really, honestly, truly believe with Alex, they've got the best leader that this company has ever seen. Because thank God, I mean, he looks like me, and a lot of him is like me, but a lot of him is like his mama. That whole personality side and social side that your mom has, thank God. I love the social scene, I do, but my wife, has never been given an invitation that she doesn't accept immediately, no matter what it means. And she's just so loving and people-oriented, it's beyond belief. Well, he's got that. And I'd like to think I'm a nice guy, but your self-perception a lot of times is way off. But I knew he was nice, and he still is. He's not screwed up. The world hasn't screwed him up. This is beautiful.
Thank you for all that, Dad. I feel like I got the best out of you and Mom. I like to party. I like to boogie. Thanks, Mom. Advertisers Printing has always been known for its quality. How did you instill that culture in our team?
I brought it down to the manufacturing level, but it was my brother, your uncle, Bob, who was a quality fanatic. He was selling to advertising agencies. Back then, that was like the top of the rung of the ladder, and it was nothing but quality, or you didn't sell to advertising agencies. Well, when he came into the company, I think our biggest press was a 23 by 35 inch sheet size press. It was a single color. Matter of fact, all of our presses when he first started were single colors. Well, agencies, they did print some single color work and some 2-color work with PMSs, etc. It was going towards 4-color. So we had to do it multiple passes on a single color press, 4 passes each side for a 4-color job. Your uncle, he absolutely didn't want to sit at that desk across from a client and try and explain why something was off color or out of fit.
In register, just like our podcast.
Absolutely. The other thing you need to know, my brother was also pretty heavy into bodybuilding. And he did a real good job of that. I mean, he looked beautiful and was strong. When you got an owner who's pounding that table and the table's breaking when he hits it, screaming about quality, and you're 4 years younger, you listen to your older brother and you go out to the shop floor and you say, please God, I don't want to die. You've got to do this right. You just learn. I mean, there were different defects, printing defects and stuff that you come up against with high quality jobs, like printing solids and having roller streaks in them and this and that and the other. By God, I can't add up all the hours I spent researching that stuff with bringing in technicians and consultants. And I have to say that really all started with my brother.
Uncle Bob, I mean, definitely on the sales side of things and the quality side of things. I know to this day, talking to, Heaney and Gorman, David Purdom, some of our most technically sound sales reps really got a lot of their education from Uncle Bob. And I always get in trouble on the tours for not spending enough time on the award wall. But a lot of the quality awards and standards that and the bar that was set to was from everything he was promising and then being delivered by you, making sure everything went perfectly. What advice would you give to the next generation to ensure Advertisers remain successful and continues to grow and innovate? What can I do better, Dad?
I don't know. Al, you're rolling along real good. I mean, it's a common theme, and so I sound like I keep rewinding it, but it's people. I mean, it's how you treat people, and it's getting the right people on board. Once you got the right people on board, making sure they stay on board. Another thing I always tried to do is when it came to personnel issues, not so much on the hiring side, but on the firing side, and also on the bonus side, which is kind of two ends of the spectrum there. But I felt like the smartest thing to do always was to err on the side of the teammate, not on the side of the company. Having said that, you're always considering the company as a whole, which is why sometimes you make tough decisions. As a matter of fact, that's why you make all your tough decisions, because it affects everybody and their families.
Well, and I would argue in any of the tough decisions that happened when I had been here or in my 17 years here, you would definitely look at everything holistically and make sure whatever decision was made was the greatest one for all. So your advice would be hire the right people.
Yeah, that's the easy advice and a tough one to do.
Yes, sir. If you had to sum up your career at Advertisers Printing in one word, what would it be and why?
In one word?
One word. Tough question.
I'd say life, because this is life. And whether you like it or not, you got to work, you got to make money, you got to pay for things, you got to raise kids, you got to clothe them, you got to feed them. You want to give them a place to live. It helps people live life. And that's probably the thing I'm proudest of, is we, from a monetary standpoint, from a purpose standpoint, from a social standpoint, from a support standpoint, we've done a lot of that over the years, over 100 years. It's helped people live their life.
I think that's a great answer. It's a very good one. Mic drop, for sure. And that wraps up our conversation with Bill Fechner, a third-generation owner of Advertisers Printing Company. I hope you learned a lot about his 47 years here and how it shaped myself and the future growth of this company. My job now is to carry on, learn from him, listen to my team, and make sure that we're well prepared to take on and become a fifth-generation company with one of my daughters, if they so choose. Thank you very much for listening. This is In Register with Alex Fechner and Advertisers Printing Company, and we'll see you soon.